Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Steven. We are going to be starting off where we ended the last tutorial, and that is after we'd finished this header. So I like to work my way down, and once I have this header designed, I can get a feel for what the rest of the layout is going to look like. So I've decided to make the navigation bar right underneath the header. It's going to be a horizontal navigation bar, and we will do this by creating a new layer. And grab your rounded rectangle tool, and I'll leave it on a radius of 10. So I'm going to draw out a rough shape, probably about that big. Don't worry if it's centered or not, we will fix that later. So I'm going to draw that out, and then I like to hold Control, select that thumbnail, make a new layer, and then come on over to your gradient, and I'm going to choose my color. So my first color is this light green color that we made on the last tutorial, and then the background is going to be a darker green color. And I chose these colors because I wanted it to look like a military jeep. I don't know if you've seen those before or not, but that's what I'm going after. So for the darker green, it's going to be 565 E44, and click OK, and you can see it's slightly darker. So grab your gradient tool, and let's save this. Actually click on New, so it's going to save it right there. Click on OK, and let's just draw out the gradient, and that's good enough. Control D, and then you can delete this layer right here. Grab your Move tool, select this top layer, hold down Control and select this background layer, and center it. Looks good. Okay, grab this first layer and let's zoom in a bit. Let's drag it up. Good. Now that we have that there, I want to give it a scratched metal look, I guess you can say. So I went to Google and I just typed in something like rusted metal, something along those lines, and I came up with this picture right here. So I'm going to drag and drop that right into Photoshop. Grab my Move tool and drag and drop it right above this, and I'm going to hold down Control and Shift and just scale it out, or Alt and Shift and scale it out. Click the check mark, then hold down Control and click this thumbnail. Go to Select, Inverse, Delete, Control D to deselect that, and I'm going to change this to Pin Light. And that's the look I'm going for. So I'm going to lower the opacity to about 80%, just to lighten that up a little bit. And now is the hard task of choosing a font. I'm just going to go with something simple, just to keep this tutorial short. So first I'm going to click D and put my colors back to default. Grab the text tool and let's just write in a couple of links. First, let me make this to a better font size, and it's going to be home. I'm just going to click space 3 times. Forum 1 2 3, news 1 2 3, members 1 2 3, download. And then let me scale that down a little bit. And then let's go over to our text properties. I'm going to have it so it's capital letters. Alright. We can make that a little bit bigger possibly, or just leave it at that. And let's just go with this stencil STD font. That looks a little military. Let's squish this down a little bit because it looks like it's being stretched. That's good enough for now. I don't feel like messing with it. So I'm going to select this text and this layer right here and align it horizontally. Okay. Let me slide it over a little bit actually. And let's make this font size a little bit smaller. Let's go with 30. Okay. And let's align that one more time. Make sure it's perfect, and that looks good. Double click this properties right here for the blending options and go to stroke. Change this to 1. And let's grab this light green color. and then add a drop shadow. I'm going to change this to 90, so it's straight up and down. This to 2, and this to 1, just so it's barely there, but you can still see it. Okay, and then to finish off this look, I'm going to make little screws. And to do this, I'm going to zoom in quite close. Make sure you have a new layer. And then I'm going to grab this elliptical marquee tool, hold down Shift, and going to draw this out to about like that. Oops. And then grab your gradient tool, and okay, the colors didn't stay. Alright, let's just grab them again. The light color and then the dark color was 565 E44. Add that to swatches. Okay. And then click on OK. And I'm going to make sure I have the radial gradient. Hold down, don't have to hold Shift actually. I'm going to, just so I get a, so it looks like it's bubbling out of the image, and that's fine. And Control D, you can see you can slightly see it there. I'm going to zoom in even more. Double click this. I'm going to add a stroke to it. Change this to 1. Let's grab this dark color, and then add a drop shadow. We're going to change this to about 1 and 1, or 2 and 1, and lower the opacity. And then one last step for this is going to be making a new layer. Change this to your pencil tool. Make sure you have the square brush, which I don't know if it's loaded in there or not, but square brush, you can see. I'm going to zoom in and just draw a diagonal line. Just so it's 2 pixels thick. And let me delete this one right here. Zoom out, and you can see it's too dark, so let's lower the opacity quite a bit. Grab both of these layers, Control T, Alt, and Shift, and let's make that smaller. Now let's just line that up. And you can click on Control G, and we'll name this Screw 1. Hold on Alt and Shift. Align that. Screw 2. Select both of those, Alt and Shift, and let's drag it over. And then I'm not going to name those, I'm just going to group those all together and name those screws. Let's drag that underneath the scratch layer, so it looks like those are scratched as well. Let's go to this layer and create a layer mask. Grab your brush tool. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to lighten that area. So go to your gray tool and just something in the middle. Let's lighten that up. Let's see if there's anything happening over here. Zoom out, and that's looking pretty good. One last step is going to be lightening this text color. Oops. Just select the text, and let's lighten that up just a little bit. And there we go. And then we have a pretty nice looking navigation bar. And that's going to end this tutorial. Next step is going to be creating the main content area and then a sidebar. See you then, and thanks for watching.